From the Battery Street studios of KCBS Radio in San Francisco, I'm Matt Pittman, and this is Bay Current for Friday, November 5th. Yesterday, Buster Posey announced his retirement from baseball and the San Francisco Giants after a sterling 12-year career.
Pagan at third, Scudero at second, Sandoval at first, the pitch. There's a swing, a long high fly ball deep to left field, and upper deck! Goodbye! A grand slam for Buster Posey. The Giants have scored 6 in the 5th inning.
A three-time world champion, 2010 National League Rookie of the Year, 2012 Most Valuable Player of the Year, a 7-time All-Star, all while wearing just one uniform, that of the San Francisco Giants. The San Francisco Chronicle's Ann Killian called Buster Posey the most important Giant since Willie Mays. And Thursday, outside Oracle Park, a crisp day in November, a time when ballparks are usually shuttered, still and quiet on the outside. Fans were on hand to greet Buster one last time.
We love you, Buster!
Buster just pulled in to the players' lot at Oracle Park. He's wearing a suit, and he just pulled out that looks like the double-barrel stroller. I guess he's got 4 kids. That makes sense. But out here, there's a gathering just under a dozen people. Can I ask you what your name is, where you're from?
Gina, and I live right down the street here in San Francisco.
Well, that's convenient. So you've probably been coming to cheer Buster and the Giants in person for a while.
20 years, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. What was your reaction when you heard that Buster was retiring?
I'm bummed, but I'm so glad for him that he's leaving on his own terms. Look at that family. It's beautiful.
My name's Kathy. I'm from San Bruno, California.
Okay. So you come all the way up from San Bruno to hope to send Buster off the right way?
You know what? I took off work to come say goodbye to Buster Posey. He means everything. Everything.
You've got the Buster hat. Yeah. You got with the embroidered signature on the bill. That's pretty dope. Wait, so just a minute ago, Buster drove in. He's wearing a suit, had his family with him, but he rolled down the window and waved to you guys. He's got a lot of emotions, I'm sure, today, right?
Yeah.
But even just a small gesture like that just seems very Buster, right?
So 100% Buster. Here's the thing. From start to finish, the man has been nothing but a class act, right? 100% the face of the MLB, hands down. Am I sad to see him go? Of course I'm sad to see him go, but what a way to go. What a season he's had. The money's never meant anything to him. It's always been about the game. It's a very honorable move by him. I'm super stoked for him. I'd love to see him come back in any kind of coaching aspect at all, but I feel like right now, I think it's all about his family right now, and you got to honor that.
Oh, we saw that with the double stroller that he pulled out of his truck.
Right,
He's got all the kids with him, all 4 of them.
Couple set of twins. That's so cool.
How about that? Yeah. And do you have a favorite Buster moment? Is it impossible to ask you that and maybe have it boiled down to one?
Every single time. I mean, could it be Matt Cain's perfect game, Timmy's second no-hitter, 3 World Series, everything huge in the Giants Buster's been a part of, and there's just so much to be said about him. This morning I was listening to KMBR, and they're like, when they called him for his, they drafted him, and I was just like, man, the beginning of an era. Yeah. That's all I could think about. And then with the home runs and the grand slam and one of the World Series, there's so many Buster moments, Buster hugs, everything.
What's it mean that he is retiring having only worn the Giants uniform in his career?
Everything. Homegrown, everything. It means everything to all of us. For Crawford, for all of them. Belt. Bum, I would have loved to happen with Bum, but, we could take what we get. But homegrown, absolutely, yes. He's, I can't wait for Cooperstown. He's first round, right in there, for sure, hands down.
Kathy, thank you.
Yeah.
Inside Oracle Park, Giants luminaries, past and present, were on hand at Buster's retirement press conference. Among them, the only managers Buster ever played for with the Giants, the current skipper, Gabe Kapler, along with the one that guided the Giants to 3 World Series championships, the great Bruce Bochy, himself a former Major League catcher.
Boch, it's great to see you, and I just have to ask, as the old veteran catcher, they don't make him like they make Buster.
No, they don't. I said this,
the great thing about this game is you get to meet some great players and great people. And Buster's right at the top for me. I was fortunate. I know how lucky I was to have him catching for me for 10 years and, leading us to those championships. And he's just a special guy. And it came out today just listening to him, and I'm happy for him. I know it wasn't easy probably, but I'm happy. He's going to get to do what he wants to do. He's accomplished so much in baseball. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He got 3 championships. I mean, this guy's special.
When did you get the first idea that he was special? And I go back to that 2010 season. You had some wild characters coming out of the bullpen, some interesting cats in the starting rotation. And in his first full season behind the plate, he handled that pitching staff like a veteran. When did you first see that, okay, this guy's different?
Well, I think you nailed it there, that first season. I mean, it's not easy for a rookie to come in and handle not just a pitching staff, a good pitching staff, and have their trust. Because they're going to be skeptical. Well, does he know what he's doing? Is he putting down the right fingers? But he took charge, and they believed in him from the get-go. And right then, we knew we had something, really something special. I remember even talking to him when we were coming back after the World Series. We had just won in Texas in that 2010. Said, Buster, these are your guys now. It's your team. You're the one leading the way, and that's the confidence I had in him.
Coach, how important was it for you to be here for his press conference today?
Oh, I was going to be here. Be honest, I was heading to Charleston, South Carolina from Nashville, and my wife understood. She goes, I know you got to be there. So she had somebody to ride with her. So tomorrow morning I'll fly to Charleston and meet her there.
So if he's going to be retiring down to Georgia after a little bit, you guys will be not quite neighbors, but pretty close.
We talked about it, close enough to maybe, golf a little bit, or maybe chase some ducks around. We'll be close enough.
Yeah. So retirement treating you all right? And do you have any advice on retirement for Buster? Now, granted, he's got the 4 little ones, 2 very little ones, so maybe a little bit different at this point in each of you guys' lives. But what's he in store for in retirement?
You know what? He's going to miss some things, as he touched on, but he's going to really be in a good spot, with the time he's going to spend with the family. It's bittersweet, and I just went through it a couple years ago. The bitter part is, he's devoted his life to baseball. And this is what he's done, and he's saying goodbye to, playing. But the sweet part is he's got a beautiful family, 4 kids. He mentioned going back to Georgia. He hasn't spent much time with his family or her family, and they're going to get to do that. So that's the sweet part of it, and that's why I'm so happy for him.
Coach, great to see you. Thanks for the couple minutes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
While Bochy watched Posey develop from a much-heralded top prospect into an MVP and team leader, Gabe Kapler joined the Giants before the pandemic-shortened 2020 season, a year that Posey opted out of playing, for family and safety reasons. But Posey's impact was evident for Kapler, even away from the team. And a year later, Buster was back. And Kapler, Posey, and the Giants would go on to win a franchise record 107 games in 2021.
Giants skipper Gabe Kapler, a couple minutes here just to talk about Buster Posey. I want to ask you first, as a former player, how rare it is for you guys to be able to leave on your own terms and what he's doing. How rare, how special that is. And in some way it seems very Buster. It seems very fitting for him.
Yeah, and I thought Buster articulated it very well. And talked about how his body had felt over the course of the last 10 years and how challenging that was. But ultimately, he had a phenomenal 2021 campaign. We ended up winning the division title in a historic playoff run, which Buster pointed out. And, to be able to kind of leave after having such an incredible season, be devoted to your family and taking care of your children after a year like that, I'm sure is quite fulfilling for him.
Is there anybody from your playing career that you can sort of maybe analog compare to what Buster's meant to this organization, to this city? As a catcher, I mean, that position in and of itself, managing the pitching staffs that he's had to manage, and wearing one uniform, doing it, winning MVPs, winning 3 championships. I mean, it's a really special resume.
Well, I've had kind of the luck of the draw to play with a lot of great players. Guys like David Ortiz in Boston comes to mind, although David didn't play in Boston for his whole career. He started out in Minnesota, and then have had an opportunity to manage pretty good players. Guys like Bryce Harper comes to mind. I think Buster is really in a class, in a league of his own at this point, right? It doesn't mean that other players won't reach that I've been around, but certainly the composure, the precision with which he executed all the tasks that he managed on a day-to-day basis that were ultimately reflected in this, retirement press conference. He's just like radiates class, genuineness, and the stories that were told about how Buster touched people were really reflective of, I think, how people see him. I certainly could share my own stories about how he made my life easier and made me a better and more effective leader and a better man in a lot of ways. So I think right now in this room, there's just a lot of gratitude for what Buster brought to everyone here right now.
Farhan talked about a 2-hour discussion with Buster that he had when he came over from the Dodgers to take over as president of baseball operations. What did Buster mean to you as a new skipper here? Granted, he wasn't around for that first year, but coming back this year and the remarkable success you guys had.
The story Farhan shared is representative of one that I could certainly share as well, which is before I got hired, I kind of interviewed with Buster. There's something that was part of the process here is Buster, just a feeling out and vetting process. So he came down and we chatted for a while, and I think he picked my brain and I picked his, and I walked out of there feeling like I had a new teammate, and part of that is because Buster has this gift of making everybody feel like they're the most important person on earth in that moment, and you could see that in the way he delivered his remarks. Plenty of credit to go around, and made sure that he highlighted just about everybody that's important to this organization in one way or another, both looking back and looking forward. So that was my first experience with him, was feeling his presence in that way.
What will his presence, the lack thereof, how will he be missed in that clubhouse?
In numerous ways, but I think most notably in the character and the way he made his teammates better, and the way he made his coaching staff better and set them up for success. And then ultimately just the production on the field. It's a guy that was arguably the best catcher in baseball last year. It's impossible to replace those two things, and even more challenging to do so simultaneously. So in any number of ways, at the same time, that's our job. We have to go try to figure out how to fill that void. And like I said, it's impossible, but we'll do our best.
Gabe, thank you.
Absolutely.
Few players will ever make an impact on a team, a franchise, or a city the way Buster Posey has woven himself into the fabric of one of sports' great franchises and into that of the city of San Francisco. My friend Bonte Hill was born and raised in SF, and he's got one of the greatest jobs that any hometown kid who's crazy about sports can ever have: hosting the morning show on our sister station, 95.7 The Game. I want to talk to you about Buster, man, because driving in, I was listening to the tail end of your show at the tail end of about the 8 o'clock hour. And one thing you said stood out to me. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about it. Was you're not sad, you're not bummed. You are, in a way, proud. You are, in a way, just grateful that you got to see the career of a player like Buster Posey from start to finish all the way through his prime. Not being sad about that, because a lot of fans are pretty sad, pretty bummed out.
A lot of fans are devastated. A lot of fans are sad, and I get it. Thought he had a couple years left in his career. But I'm happy, man, because this guy gave a decade to the Giants. He never thought about playing for anybody else. He's retiring as a Giant. Mm-hmm. The team that drafted him, number 5 overall out of Florida State. 3 championships. We know about the 7 All-Stars. The MVP award. Comeback Player of the Year award. This guy was everything to the Giants, and he was a leader. He was a quiet leader. And you know what? He goes on his own terms. He wants to be a family man. He's walking away from $22 million.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could walk away from $22 million.
I can guarantee you I could not.
Yeah. but you know, I'm like, you know what? Thank you, Buster. Thank you for a great run in Giants baseball history. It's the greatest decade of Giants baseball since they moved to San Francisco. Being in contention, the moments, the Buster hugs, the home run off of Matt Latos in Game 5 in the 2012 NLDS in Game 5 when the Giants were down 0-2 going to Cincinnati and then winning all 3 games in Cincinnati just to advance to against St. Louis and then go down 3-1 in that series and win 3 straight.
Yeah.
The framing of pitches, the multiple hits, the clutch hits, the no-hitters. I'm just thankful that I got to see Buster Posey play in a Giants uniform and rock that 28 and knowing that whenever Buster Posey came up to hit, whenever he was behind a backstop, he gave you every ounce, every single inning. So maybe I'll be sad at one day about, man, maybe next year I'll go out there opening day and say, damn, it sucks not seeing number 28 out there. But for right now, I'm not sad, man. I'm just thrilled and I'm thankful that we got to see Buster Posey play his entire career here in San Francisco, going as a young pup through his prime years to what he was last season after sitting out the COVID year.
Yeah.
Sitting out the COVID year, we had no idea what we were going to see. He was batting 7th against your Mariners to start the season.
Yeah,
and he hits a home run.
I get what you're saying, though, man. So Oracle is the house that Barry built, but Buster moved in, hung the drapes, hired the decorator, got the furniture, and I mean that's it. That's his yard. That's his park, and that number 28 is going to be hanging in there at some point.
No doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I appreciate it, Bonte. Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks to my colleague Bonte Hill, to Giants legendary manager Bruce Bochy, and to current Giants skipper Gabe Kapler for joining me on Bay Current today. And to Buster Posey, thank you for the memories, for the heart, and for 12 incredible years. And thank you for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Bay Current on the Odyssey app, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And you can catch each episode on YouTube on the KCBS Radio YouTube page. There's a link in the show notes. That's it for today's Bay Current. I'm Matt Pittman, and we'll chat with you on Monday.